I'll just put them in order
Nice.
real quick.
Right.
Okay, so the way we're gonna do about it, because I seen people do this when they were like in groups. We'll bring up a game like GT1, and then everyone
GT4.
says where they think it should go, like just the tier,
Yeah, let's vote.
and
Let's
then
vote.
we'll make an average, right?
Right.
I mean the tier that wins the most, kind of the game goes there, and then we'll discuss about why we think it should be there or it should be higher or lower, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Real quick, prologue. Let's go stuff.
Sometimes I will not rate the games because some of them I haven't played them, like the Gt4 Prologue.
Yeah, in
Gran
that
Turismo
case, I
Prologue.
guess you won't have anything to say. I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Sorry, guys.
To be
remember
fair,
the
I
names.
really didn't play the prologues too, so I mean, you guys probably know more about them than me, but I kind of have an idea about them.
Well, I tried to play the Prologue, Gt5 Prologue, but even with the wrap file, it wouldn't do anything.
Maybe you just had to.
I just only played
I will try to resign it.
GT4 Prologue.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so do you want me to keep the Christmas music? I mean, you probably don't hear it anyways, so I guess I mean we'll just keep it. Why not? Okay, we'll start with the first one.
GT1.
Yes. Where do you think it should go? One at a
Since
time,
it's the
please.
first game, it should be in a high tier since.
Okay,
it's, the game that
I think,
Okay,
Started all.
actually before we start, I think with the games should be ranked for like based on like when they released. Like you gotta compare it,
how
like,
good word. Yeah.
like I mean we're gonna talk about GT1, we're gonna talk about it like compared to what else was out at the time. Because of
Yeah,
course
yeah.
then you're just because if you just compare them all against each other, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, GT6 it's better than the others because it's more realistic.
Yes,
I don't
Yeah,
think
and
that
it
would
has
work nicely.
thousands of cars. Yeah.
but I don't have any other racing games.
Okay,
Hey
now
guys, does anyone remember that old racing game that Polyphony made? It was about something like
yeah,
Mario
we
Kart?
can talk about that another time. So okay, GT1, where do you think it should go?
TRS.
Tire S for that time. Yeah.
A or S, but
Yeah.
A.
Maybe A. Yeah.
Ooh, shit! I'm gonna have the hot take here.
Oh, you're gonna put in like D tier probably.
I'm not. No, I would say put it in B tier. The reason is because it is a landmark game. It's pretty much the whole reason the series started, and you know it was a huge deal for the time. But if you go back in hindsight, you see how more like limited it is, and you know physics wise, it's probably the one that's aged the worst.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's a bunch of S, a bunch of A's, and a B. So I might put it in A for now.
I think
Yeah.
you should, based on the
same
average,
for me.
I would just based on the average of everybody. So I think that would be A.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me personally, cause I just played this through recently on stream. Yeah, it definitely it's the one that aged the worst, but for everything that it did, like there are some things that are like maybe like too extreme to be realistic, but the base like it still follows some kind of real life logic in some stuff. Like you brake too hard, the car spins. Yeah, I mean the suspension physics is fucked up. The car bounces like crazy.
But which one?
For 97 is.
But yeah, for 97 on a con
It's good.
It's a
With all-
PS1 game.
with all of those cars,
You shouldn't
they
forget
got
that.
they got a lot of stuff right for it being the first one, right? So I think the A tier is deserved. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we move to GT2.
S.
Yes,
S.
no doubt about it.
For the, in my opinion, from the 1 to the 2, too much improvement in physics and
Yes, it's the cars.
graphics. Too much cars, too much circuits.
Yeah,
So more,
agree.
more circuits.
What
In
was
my
that?
opinion, I think the TRS.
I think it should be TRS because it laid the benchmark on what Polyphony can do when they get out of the box.
yeah.
When they
it's,
really
Yeah.
start to improve the game.
Gran
Yeah.
Turismo.
I will
So
also
I
put it
think
on
Yeah,
TRS.
it had.
S is deserved.
Gra-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo 2 to me is
Basically, a
S tier.
DLC of the
Yes.
S tier because it's pretty much the game that really pushed the hardware more than any. Like, it's one of those games that really tested the capabilities of the PS1 hardware wise.
Yeah.
The amount of cars it had at the time would have it was way beyond anything else at the time.
Yeah, it
And
has a lot
it's
of cars.
honestly one of the most diverse car lists in any Gran Turismo game.
Yeah, that's
thinking
true.
about it.
That's true.
It's iconic.
It's the only car list in a game that has like nearly the entire 1999 Japan Grand Touring Championship roster,
And
because that was
also
one of their
it was-
plans, was to have
And also
all
it
of them.
Could be, also could be the game to start for Formula 1 cars to appear and other cars, because I've seen a video about it on a demo that they saw that there were a lot of names of cars that they were going to be on the game, but they removed it. Sometimes I think they will.
Yeah, there was
Formula
definitely a lot of plans for the
A lot
game
of-
that just never materialized due to time and development constraints.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
even Ferrari
it
was
really
going to
was.
be
It was,
Ferrari,
it was a
Lamborghini.
rushed game, to be honest, but it still came out really good.
Yeah,
Well,
It's one of those cases where, despite all the bugs it had at present, the actual game itself was just so good that you just didn't care really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so I think we all agree on this one.
That's
Now-
totally S tier.
Now, GT3.
GT3.
I think this one is gonna be
Ah.
interesting.
D.
B.
D.
B.
Why D?
Okay,
I
wait.
think
Nah,
I
it
think
should
it's
be.
a-
Why?
For me personally,
or
it's
B?
it's at least A, but I don't know.
I'm
B.
probably
B,
also
to be
gonna
honest.
I'm probably also gonna say B on GT3. And my main reason is GT3 is extremely repetitive. It has a
sort
lot of
of.
repetition in that game, and I'm not
Yeah,
talking about like the car list or anything, because you know that was
cars,
always
like,
going to happen
twice.
no matter what. But it repeats a lot of events, and a lot of the stuff in the later like professional league stuff, it just goes on and on and on. Like they really drag on a lot of stuff in that game, and as well, it's also, especially during the early parts of the game, making money in that game isn't actually that easy.
Is it?
So
though?
it's a lot of work that you got to put into that game. So and I know people who are turned off from that game because of that. So honestly, that's why I would maybe say B, because even despite that, the game was a game changer. Like a Gran Turismo game with the kind of graphics that it had it for 2001, like that, you got to remember how big of a deal that was.
yeah, if you would
it looked
compare
really
the graphics of GT2 to
And it's still
GT3,
it still
would be
is a fun
5,000.
game to actually play despite its issues. It's also just a huge grind.
Okay.
Yeah,
For-
it has
for-
its pros and cons.
For me
Yeah.
personally, I think it would be more of an A, because
Yeah.
I mean it
Yeah.
is repetitive. It can get repetitive, and it definitely lacks cars. But again, they even look better than what they could achieve on the PS1. But I think that other than that, the other stuff, it's actually better than GT2 in a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a really good
Yeah.
game. It's a really
Well,
good game.
I mean,
For me,
Graphics,
it's-
physics, yeah, that's about it in a racing game, right?
yeah,
I had never
uh,
played with
that's a
GT3, so I
big part of it.
for me, it's between A and B tier, because of a soundtrack that you could actually decide to play, because you had the option to do some sort of like playlist, unlike in Gran Turismo
Yeah,
2.
that's true actually. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, as you guys said, it's pretty repetitive. The tracks and the quality of tracks and cars was very improved. I mean, from PS1 to PS2, there was a lot of improvements.
Yeah.
But as you guys said, at that time, PS2 games were just getting launched. For example, I can bring up F1 2001, which than
I mean, yeah, you
Yes,
look at the other games, racing games in 2001, they don't come close to GT3.
Yeah.
The slide lines.
Polyphony was one of the few people that could actually master the PS2 hardware back in the early 2000s.
I think one thing that I also think is that sometimes the Gran Turismo games can really push the hardware that play.
Yeah. I also think maybe the GT mode is probably the best one in the series. I don't know.
I will put in hey. Is it just
GT
me,
mode,
I
GT mode of GT3, I think that is the best because don't give you a standard car. For example, on joder. It has like a roulette.
Oh yeah,
When-
yeah. It was maybe the only one before sport with the kind of roulette thing for your cars, right? I don't.
Roulette.
Yeah, you know when the
That's
cars.
very cool.
When you have a prize car,
Ah,
Yeah.
yes,
in a
I
specific
know.
race, it
Yeah.
doesn't
Fixed
give you
price
a
car,
specific car.
Yeah. Or
Okay,
from
so-
a steamer.
They weren't fixed.
Okay.
Yeah,
most-
that roulette thing, I pretty much like it because
if most of you want, I can move it up to A, or we can just
Yeah,
leave it
yeah,
to
yeah.
B. I just wanna hear everyone about it though.
Yeah.
I think B.
It deserved it.
I think that B is okay, although it's a good game still.
Yeah, it's one of the.
It doesn't mean that it's a bad game, but
Okay, so
it,
we're gonna leave it
compared
at
to B.
we're gonna leave that
Really
B.
good.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, this-
Gt4 Prologue.
Okay.
I don't
GT4
know.
Prologue. I
GT4 Prologue.
I haven't played the game.
I played it and it's a NES.
a mess.
Solid S.
Really?
It's a net because
Jeez.
the cons. Daihatsu Copen and cons. Yeah. Es
GT.
tires.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
I didn't personally play it. From what I saw, I'd say it was pretty solid. I don't know.
GT4
Yeah,
Prologue, honestly, having played it, despite the fact they never released it in America, Prologue I probably would give a C
A
To be-
C?
at the best. C at best.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have
because-
seen some little
'cause
things
it's-
about it.
I guess.
It's really just nothing more but a bunch of license tests to get a bunch of
Yeah.
extra vehicles, and then
Oh,
you have
right,
like
then.
5 tracks to do like
Yeah.
races with
but
only
it's
like
a
up
prologue.
to.
And the most tracks are
Yeah,
just
it's a
like
prologue,
from,
but
I
I
think,
messed
I
up.
think, in my
and the
opinion,
most
still-
courses
they're-
are from driving park. Like
It is a prologue, yes, but there just isn't much in that game, regardless.
Mm.
It's a
Okay.
C.
I can
my-
see that.
I know GT5 Prologue is still a prologue too, but there was
Yeah,
at least a little bit more going on in that game.
Yeah, they
GT5
had
Prologue
also online.
could
They
easily
had
be its
also
own
online.
game if it was like not a Gran Turismo game. GT5 Prologue could probably be its own game if it was made by someone else. I think that's how I feel
Yeah.
about it. But we'll get to it later.
I think GT4 Prologue is a bit lackluster to be a prologue game. I personally
Yeah, I
have
had-
played it myself, and the thing of if you passed any license test, you will get the car you used in the garage. And as it was said previously, only 5 tracks weren't really fun, and it doesn't really feel like a Gran Turismo game by just unlocking cars and not having a proper career mode.
It's also worth keeping in mind with GT4 Prologue that you have to enable an option setting just to get opponents on like 3 of those 5 tracks.
Oh really?
For me, Gran Turismo.
Yeah,
4
because otherwise,
Prologue
if you
is
just
like a demo.
if you don't enable it, if you don't enable that option, then every track will have no one but you.
Okay, I see that.
For me, Gran Turismo 4 Prologue is like a demo.
I mean,
nothing else.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
That's like my comparison
that's-
because GT4 Prologue is like a demo, a paid demo, but GT5 Prologue isn't. doesn't give that feel. But okay.
Yeah, Gran Turismo 5 Prologue is way better than the fourth one. Like,
Okay, so we'll
it has
leave
online.
GT4 Prologue in C. Now, what
Yeah,
about
it's-
GT4 itself, though?
S.
Yes.
Alright,
Heads up.
Alright,
Yes.
Nothing.
It's really good.
Just an S.
Gran
Yeah.
Turismo 4 is my first Gran Turismo I've ever played. It's also
Yeah. Same.
it has a
Yeah, it's an S.
it has a nice variety of soundtracks. The variety of cars and the tracks push the boundaries of the PS2 hardware. And given how in the emulators you can higher up the quality, shows how if it was a bigger hardware, what could have been. It's an S tier.
Yeah, you could play
yeah,
it on
I
1080.
have tried upscaling it to 2
PS2.
times.
Wait.
Tortured my PC.
Out of
and it was really nice.
out of all of the games, I'd say that with GT4, I could honestly never get bored. Like, I could play it forever and never get tired of it. It just
Yeah.
feels...
GT4 is S tier, just full stop.
I mean,
It has tons of events, like tons of like diverse events. Like the track list was one of the best in the whole series. The car list, despite some little bits of repetition with some vehicles, it still had a lot of like really nice choices and stuff.
Yeah.
It was the last Gran
Yeah.
Turismo game, at least until GT7, to have like a proper kind of like a proper laid out like career mode with like
Yeah,
actual,
the
like-
career mode is
like a GT
very
world, like an
awesome.
actual like GT world sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the first to introduce the photo mode.
Yeah. That's a big deal, honestly.
There was just a lot to do in the game that just keep you busy, and unlike GT3, it didn't feel like everything was the same. It actually felt like there was a lot of different things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's
al-
true. Very true.
Although Gran Turismo 4 was a rush game, missing that was supposed
it,
to have.
though?
Yeah,
Not really.
Not really. It doesn't feel like it, but it should have had drag racing and the online mode.
Yes.
The online mode didn't make it to the full game because it just
I
wasn't.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they just decided to cut it out, but it doesn't mean it was rushed, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you
The
can say
public demo.
GT2 was properly rushed.
I think
because-
the online mode was just they weren't able to get it working properly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know about drag racing.
They
though,
probably said that
because-
they probably saw that it would have taken too much time and decided to cut it.
Yeah, I don't know about drag racing though, because I tried in the emulator and I replaced one of the tracks with Las Vegas, and everything was working fine, just like a drag race. They
Yeah,
just
I mean,
didn't.
I just think maybe they thought it was, you know, not worth it, simply.
Like in Gran Turismo 2, if you saw that video, also in Gran Turismo 2 there should have been drag racing.
Yeah. On the
Yeah,
In
yeah,
fact,
demo,
there are
we saw the option.
drag race cars in the game.
But yeah, okay, I don't think
It's an S tier anyway.
we got any. I don't think we have anything else to add to GT4. Closest,
It's just
closest,
S tier
closest game
at the
to
end of the
perfection.
day.
But
Oh,
using land mode on X-Link High is hell, as you guys say.
I mean, back in the day, the land mode was fine. I mean, it was the first game you could have played in triple screen, right? That was also
Yeah.
a thing.
Isn't the card list for land mode limited? Because I see people selecting.
It is if you don't favorite vehicles.
Yeah, you have a
Oh.
list of preset vehicles, but then you can use whatever. You just have to favorite them, though.
Oh, that's good then.
Right, best game in the franchise easily. Um,
Yeah,
Now-
yeah.
GTPSP, which I think it could be a controversial one.
But-
Gran Turismo PSP,
I think
for me,
It's
is
awful.
like B,
B.
or C tier.
B,
Because-
B.
See.
Because the menu just didn't feel like a Gran Turismo game. The menu was just absolutely something
Okay,
new
wait,
that
wait.
was horrible.
First we gotta place it, then we can go into this discussion.
I'll put
I
it
think
this
it's
way,
somewhere
right?
from C to D. I don't like
B,
it.
B.
Well, the
Gran
menu has
Turismo-
to be that way to finish
Because
on a
it's
PSP
No,
screen.
GT4 2.0 with more
See,
fish,
see.
with more
See.
cars.
Gonna
What
just
do you
in B
see?
for
Same
now.
What's
car.
the
minutes.
game?
There is one thing I want to point out about Gran Turismo PSP. it's worth keeping in mind that it's the PSP Gran Turismo is basically what became of the whole idea that was going around for the time of Gran Turismo for boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay.
It
I
was
think
also
the biggest sin of the game is that it doesn't really have a career mode. It's like
That's pretty much
Yeah,
my big,
that's sad. I
my
know
biggest
about
issue
that.
with
That's one
it.
thing that bothers me.
if
You can't
it
even
had-
Yeah,
build
it gets
cars,
pretty
like,
boring
very
in my
limited
opinion
ones.
after a long time.
It's just there's just not enough going for it. Like for me, it's
if it had a
kind of
career
it's just
mode,
C.
it
I'd
could be
honestly
A
say C tier.
easily,
It's
but
Yeah, it's
But
C.
everything else in the
Yeah.
game is actually really solid. I did play around
Yeah.
with it a couple of months ago, and it's actually had a lot of fun doing
Yeah.
the missions.
But you have a lot of fun when you.
The car list
when you
is
try-
pretty big as well.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, it has the
first
its
game
ups and
with
downs.
Ferrari cars, right?
Got to.
something
Yeah,
that's not
so-
talked about.
I mean,
is-
GT5 Prologue came out before the PSP Gran Turismo
Did it?
So
I don't remember.
That would have
Yeah,
been the
yeah.
first.
For the
Yeah,
Oh,
I
it did. Okay.
The
Yeah.
GTHD was technically the first Gran Turismo with a Ferrari, but
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
GTPSP
It
is
was
the
what it
first quote unquote full
Full
game
game,
with Ferraris.
Yeah.
Just to end off the discussion of Gran Turismo PSP, something that is not talked about is the option to put custom music into the game.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I
that
don't
was a
remember it,
thing.
but
I mean, that's
I
guess
tried
so.
it and it worked.
It
is a feature, yeah.
I guess it's cool even in the later games that you can do that, but I never really found myself doing it because soundtrack is already pretty good by itself.
Yeah, the soundtrack is
Yeah.
good. I like it.
So,
Yeah,
are
especially when
we-
you
So
get
it would
gold,
be
it's a
also
nice
great if they would
song.
put a Christmas song or something. Like they could do it. I mean, the PS3 had a clock and stuff.
So we're gonna leave it in B rank.
yeah.
That's fine.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, leave it there.
Now GT5 Prologue.
A.
Hey,
Hey,
A rank.
B.
Haven't seen much, but from what I've seen, it's pretty good.
it's always a prologue.
It's a B
But-
tier for me. It is still technically a prologue game, and it is still it is still limited on features because
yeah,
of that.
but is,
It is still a good game, and
yeah.
the reason I would put it above GT4 Prologue is there was at least some sort of career mode, and there was
online, and there
was
online.
online. It was the first Gran
Yeah.
Turismo
Hey.
to properly introduce
Have a
online
proper
play.
That was
online.
kind of a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
it was
online,
it was a
like,
huge deal for the time. That's why
Yeah.
That's why I say it should be B
Hey.
tier.
BT.
Huh?
So
yeah.
we're gonna put it in B tier, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of
Yeah.
them B.
Yeah,
B.
I mean it was like 40 or 50 bucks when it came out, I think.
Hmm.
And I mean for
Pretty
that
cheap.
money, I honestly would have been satisfied for it, even though it wasn't as big as any other on the mainline games. I would have been pretty satisfied myself
Yeah.
for what
I
it
love seeing
offered.
videos and I see that the style is very good, like how the game looks and
The
yeah.
music is awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it's a good thing we didn't put it in A tier because now for GT5, I will go
S.
S.
A.
no
A.
for
No,
me
S.
GT5 is
S.
an A.
for
it
me
was the
it's
first ever Gran Turismo game that I
A.
have tried.
for me it's a B
Yeah,
tier, guys. For me it's B.
Why?
I disagree.
Definitely on
I think it's
that
A
one.
tier.
I got
Yes.
people mad.
It's
Oh,
the
I'll say-
endurance race.
I'll say this about the game. Yeah, there are some problems with it. Standard cars, leveling up system,
but-
and
I think the
How-
leveling
how-
up.
how
That's
These
slow
are
and
about
clunky-
the fact
how
that,
slow
Okay,
and
wait,
clunky
guys.
the menus are.
One at a
Okay,
time.
wait.
One at a time,
What's the
please.
first?
Thunder, I think. No, wait, what was it?
Yeah, I was trying to say.
Okay, yeah. Go.
Like, this is like,
Nang-
there are some issue with GT5. Yes, like all the standard cars, the menus being kind of slow and clunky. The what was the
The
one other
loading
thing that I said?
times.
Loading times. Yeah,
They're
that was
fucking
another
hell.
thing.
I just wanna point out.
The leveling up, the leveling up
Modification
system.
in
Oh,
a room.
God,
I mean,
But the game still
Multiplayer.
had at least if outside of that, the career mode was solid. I liked
Yeah.
some of the new stuff it added, like
Yeah.
the car deliveries and stuff.
It had a lot of variety.
I like that the license tests were no longer.
Rally.
I like that the license tests were no longer mandatory.
However-
At least for
however,
that. At least for that
the
game.
license ICT
Like, you
is
could
a total
go
pain in the
to-
ass.
It gave at least more of a purpose for the B spec events, and ultimately the biggest selling point for me and the why I'd say A tier is the game's online was great. It had a
Yeah.
fantastic online mode. Yes, it was. Yes, netcode was not great on it, but no one really cared.
Well,
It was just. It's a game that I spent so many hours playing coming home from school. That
Really?
it just
Me
it has a
too,
lot
me
of
too.
it just
For
has
me-
huge importance to
I
me.
remember 2018 firing up licenses, and one day I did something where I was keep doing a license like 30 times, and I was crying trying to pass that license. Was
Damn.
That
I
was the
was
same for me,
crying and
but
trying
it was
again and again. I was keep crying like.
I just want to point out Nenkai saying that he should go in D tier, but it's like
D tier, you fucking are you fucking high then, Kai?
for me it would go B because I don't know. To me it's like the game that feels the most rushed. It feels rushed in a lot of aspects to me at least. 'Cause,
yeah, they could add on interiors for all the cars, but now it's shit. It looks like it was ported from a 1995 game.
the graphics they go from like looking really good from looking like PS2. It's not consistent, so it's pretty jarring to me.
GTA 6 changed.
I mean,
how the
are we
cars
gonna
look.
bring up address the elephant in the room, the standard cars? I mean, I guess it's better to have them than not.
It's
but
the standard vehicles are ultimately
they
a
don't even
situation.
drive that good though. That's like my problem with them. They are
The
not
standard
that-
vehicle. I'll put it this way: the standard vehicles are ultimately just a sacrifice of what is it? It's a sacrifice of the hardware that the game was being run on at the time and just time constraints. Like they had to.
Yeah,
They had to get GT5 out because the game had
But
been delayed
why-
so many
why-
times.
If they
Yeah.
wanted to add so many cars, why the fuck did they add 220
It's like-
Miatas of
I
same generation? Why the
Miatas, oh
fuck?
my
it's like they didn't. I don't think the standard cars are like they had plenty of time to have more detailed cars. I just think
Yeah.
it's just because after GT4 they really didn't know what to do. They spent a lot of
I-
times with
But
I think
different
they-
why
it's
the
not
fuck did
that I
they
don't
add
think they-
20 Miatas?
It's not that I don't
well,
think they didn't. It's
well,
not that I.
well,
I will admit there's a bit where they probably didn't know what they were doing, but to say like they, I'd still think again it's ultimately just a sacrifice of the hardware because people don't seem to remember just how difficult it was to make games for the PlayStation 3 because that
Yeah, it
cell
was
processor
it was
crap.
hell.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the
but-
problem was Polyph PD. At the time, they were trying to implement this and that, and as a result, I think some of those stuff, like the Carlos, kind of got sacrificed as a result.
Really,
I
even
don't
Kazunori
think
said that the development
I
of the
just
PS3
think
was
it's
hell.
I don't think it has to do with the hardware itself. It's ultimately just time because it's not like the PS3 needs to have standard cars to play smoothly. It does.
Well, in my opinion, GT5, well, it has 1,000 cars. Okay, it has a lot of standard cars, but because the PS3 hardware doesn't run that much. Imagine 1,000 premium cars and
That would be cool, but the PS3 would explode.
yes, but it cannot work.
Yeah, the PS3 would fucking explode.
PS3 has a 2005 hardware. In my opinion, running GT5 like it do, it's a
It's a
boom.
miracle.
It's also worth pointing out it
Basically-
also only has 256 megs of RAM, which was
Yeah.
half that of the Xbox 360.
It's just when I played
Wait,
GTA 5,
it had
even now.
Meanwhile, the
amount of
development
RAM?
consoles, the
Only
development kits
256
were
gig?
512. Why they
When-
couldn't just implement it to the normal PS3s and they just put it on the developer kits?
I
It would
just
be so much better.
For me, it's just when I play GTA 5, I'm like, okay, but I could be playing GT4 right now. That's the main thing. I mean, nowadays I can think of GT6, but if we were talking back in the day, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but GT4 is a thing. That's just how I feel
GT
about it.
For me, GT5 the online was the biggest selling point, and
Yeah.
For
it's something
sure.
that could
Yeah, no,
it's something
definitely.
that couldn't be replicated in GT4 for obvious reasons, and
Back in
the fact the master mod kind of gave life back to the game. So
The game. Actually, guys,
and-
I bought the GT5 back in 2017 just to play online. But then I realized that I didn't have enough space because it was super slim. And I didn't knew that the servers were closed on 20...
13,
Well,
2014, somewhere around
I
there.
didn't knew that. When I found it, I was like, what the fuck? And when I wanted to buy GT6, hear this.
They really
Yeah.
should have kept the servers up longer if people were
Yeah.
still playing it. It just
They
seemed
still
That's
it
keep
bullying
seemed
Gran
me, you
Turismo HD
Money, though.
leaderboards too.
it really seemed like they were trying to push people over to the next game.
I mean, that's what
Yeah.
they did.
Like,
Yeah,
not
that's
everyone can
exactly-
afford
Yeah.
a fucking PS4. Why the fuck would they push it?
That's what.
Because they need money.
And one more thing, respect of the online on GT5, the community mode that you can send cars to your friends, send
Yeah.
paints. That it was
That's
amazing.
super cool.
Too much people in a lot of lobbies. Can you send me a X 2010 or literally 2010 in GT5 was a lot of people asking for a X1
Oh,
on a lobby or send you can send to your friend I don't know, a gold chrome, a silver
Yeah,
chrome.
cars, you know.
Well, Gold Chrome. I'm driving a Gold Chrome Toyota Supra currently.
Yeah, it looks like a gypsy got, for example, a Mercedes on gold chrome looks like a gypsy, but
No, looks like an Arab to me.
for
Arab.
Okay.
for example, but you know, it's very.
Saudi Arabia.
But you know, it was very funny to send someone a paint or a car or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically,
also
Right.
share
The other
custom
fact is
tracks.
that,
interacting
Gran
with the
Turismo
community
5
was a cool feature.
just made the basis for all the other Gran Turismo games. For example, Gran Turismo 6. Look, for example, Gran Turismo 6 has rain, has online events.
Gran Turismo
Yeah.
with time
6
trials.
really
Better
itself
UI.
relative to
I-
inward
Better
rotation.
UI, physics.
And what about GT Academy?
And more
Premium
premium
cars.
cars.
I mean,
Can we just
Academy.
wait? I think we're going too fast right now. For
yeah.
I just want to point out that in the general chat, there's a lot of discussion going on as well, especially Satan. He really doesn't like GT6.
GT6 is a nice game.
Okay, but now we're gonna talk about it. So GT6.
Okay,
I have like
GT6
500
or
hours
B
combined
or
in it.
C?
Oh, no.
GT6 for me is like between A or S because
You just gotta
the-
tell me the rank. The discussion
I
will
mean-
be later.
S.
A
Alright.
or S.
A.
A or S.
GT6.
This is an A tier.
Here's the truth for me.
B tier.
GT6
You
for
can't
me is
hit
probably
third,
in a wholeheartedness cannot give GT6 anything higher than C tier.
Yikes.
GT6 is an S for me.
For me-
GT6 for me
Yeah, for
is
me-
GT6
what? Yeah, what
I
is
said, but
GT6
so
is a
many
mess.
expensive.
For me,
They
it's
made it's a
Wait,
game
Only
that
I
20
still
cars
gotta
to
I
put
still
in
gotta
one
place
game.
it
Looking
down.
at the chat.
Guys, chill. I still gotta place it down because you all have like different opinions, and that's normal. But
Mm,
I'm having a hard time figuring this out. So
can I
again,
just start?
where do you think I
Um,
should put it?
S.
A.
B.
A.
Hey.
Who says F?
Yes.
Who says F? Who says
You can-
F?
Okay, it's really
Someone
mixed,
says
so I'm
F,
gonna leave it
gonna
in
go to
A.
this house and fuck him.
Kind of an
See.
average.
In my
Yeah.
opinion, is an S because it has improvement at the physics.
Mhm.
Bueno,
physics,
The fucking drift events suck ass though.
better online mode.
What sucks is that the drift events
Basically
are required
GTs.
for 100% completion. They are hard as fuck, man. I can't fucking complete them.
Well, excusing the thing that if you brake literally hard on a, for example, on a mito, you literally go up on air.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
The
GT6
curves
was
are-
amazing though.
are ahead.
Because
But guys,
it had
there
a
are-
lot of
excusing
online.
that, excusing that, the all, the suspension, the grip,
Yeah.
the downforce. I think that
That was very good improvement.
it was a very good improvement.
Yeah.
But
The online was
but-
was amazing, you know, with the
Yeah,
custom tracks.
Also,
it
I wanna
was really
point out
amazing.
the-
I had a lot of fun.
I wanna
in the
point out the introduction of the Vision GT cars. You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
it had a
Introduction of
very
FIA
cool,
events.
yeah, it had a really nice online mode.
It had a very
Basically,
nice. It also had a real
um,
nice track creator app. It was like that was the main reason I wanted to buy GT6 just to make tracks and a lot
Yeah, I
of
used
like
to.
fuck tracks
I
that I was
didn't.
seeing. I was seeing a lot of fuck tracks and
Better
that's how
graphics
it
also.
inspired
Yeah,
me.
tracks. The track maker was really nice. You know,
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's
The other
probably the
thing
best
is that the
function that
graphics, the
GT6 had.
graphics look way better than the Gran Turismo 5. Like it has nice.
Yeah,
reflections
the-
in cars.
the writing
There
was,
was a
much
problem.
better.
GT5 was of 2010.
Yeah,
Yeah.
GT5
GT6 is
looks more
2013.
brown, while GT6
2013,
So
looks
yeah,
more
GT6
vibrant.
is the problem is that
Like,
GT6 is
if I
similar to
can-
GT5.
GT6.
If I can say,
Hey guys, here's something. I was searching through the
I've been
Gamescom
waiting to
builder
say
of Gran
something.
Turismo 6, and I saw some of the e-boot. I saw some of the e-boot of Gran Turismo 6, the
Why are we
Gamescom
talking
build.
D-boots? I'm sorry.
No, I wanna tell you something.
I've just
very
been,
serious, bro.
I'm just patiently waiting to get my chance to say something.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah, the same for me. So
Yeah, same.
For me.
Okay, say it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, who goes
So,
first?
who wants to start?
me.
Here,
Okay,
okay.
me.
Oh,
Okay, so
Albertini
Gran
because
Tur-
it is special. So
Okay.
Gran Turismo 6 was also groundbreaking in a way because it's the first Gran Turismo track to have rain on changeable weather on all of the tracks, unlike Gran Turismo 5. Gran Turismo 5
No.
were selected the
It
tracks where you
doesn't,
could.
though?
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But
What
do
are
you
you
mean?
talking
They
about?
want
It
Route
doesn't
X.
have,
It-
No,
weather.
no. For example, you can change
It-
the weather
only-
at Rome.
It also had those moon tracks where you take a
Yeah.
car
Yeah.
on the moon.
Yeah.
That was also a
And
good
the
thing.
third mission was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
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 The only problem
Yeah.
was that the line sucks a little bit because the
what are you
artificial
saying?
EA because the
Yeah,
AI is a little bit slow.
Offline,
slow.
Yeah, it was
Offline,
fucking
yeah.
easy.
If
Well-
I can,
Well, we all can confirm that GT mode was the worst of all the games of the company, but so long. GT mode in GT6 was the worst.
Really?
You
I
literally,
really enjoyed it.
I
really enjoyed it.
Mira, in my opinion, I played it when I passed the game literally in 3 days without restarting a lot.
I'm just,
And in my opinion was the shortest GT mode that I played.
And the
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
the GT
I
mode is
completed it
kinda-
all in like 1 month.
And the easiest.
so can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go now.
Okay, like I said, truthfully, in all honesty, I really can't rate GT6 higher than C tier because The thing with Gran Turismo 6, yes, there are improvements. Yes, the menus work a lot better. Yes, they did get rid of the leveling system. Yes, some standard cars were updated to look a lot nicer, which I'm all for. Yes, they made it so you could paint any paint chip you got stayed with you forever. There are a lot of good things about Gran Turismo 6 that I felt it did better over Gran Turismo 5. And the track editor stuff especially when people figured out how you could hack it and have like all these ridiculously silly tracks. And they also had Sierra, which I really like Sierra. But Gran Turismo games for me always needs to have the GT mode. For me, is one of the most important things about any good Gran Turismo game, because it's really the heart of the game, the thing that is going to keep you wanting to come back. And they really dropped the ball with GT6's actual career mode. The events are basic. They're just simple. You don't win anywhere near as many cars. The events are generally just very short. There's no like proper endurance racing in the game, and it felt like compared to GT5 in some ways, it just felt like such a step down in terms of actual what you could do in the career mode. The online was still fun. It was still good, obviously, especially when you had like all those sort of tracks. But it also felt like, to me, it didn't really connect with me as much, because it really just felt like a case, even in the online sense, of maybe being a little bit more of the same as it was in GT5, minus the fact, and this is the one thing that I will always continue saying, even though it'll never happen, obviously now. Where's my shuffle racing?
Wow.
Shuffle racing was basically the thing I marathoned the hell out of GT5, and it wasn't there in GT6. They got rid of it.
Yeah.
And that made me so upset. That was a hard thing to deal with, because when I realized it wasn't in the game, I was just that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I can see some of your points.
It's just, for me, like, honestly, like, maybe I was expecting too much. Maybe I was completely going into it the wrong way. But for me, just in hindsight, GT6 just really let me down.
That's fair enough.
In my opinion, GT6 in the online aspect was a pre-made GT Sport when they introduced the quick races. Like
like the sport mode.
Yeah.
Daily weekly races.
It has a pre-made VOP mode in the quick races. I think that it was the pre-made GT Sport, and then GT Sport was that it was. Basically online, and GT mode is the simplest because of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone left, or?
Okay.
Still here.
I think that there's no one.
Yeah, because so I guess I can go now. It's funny because I think I'm like the opposite of Thunder when it comes to GT6 completely. The campaign mode was definitely inferior to the other games, I feel, but it wasn't bad. It was mainly different because they really set it up to make it much more straightforward. You just win races, then you do like 3 license tests, I think it was, or 5 probably.
5.
Yeah, and then you just move on. But they had the fun. They even had the missions back. I don't think they were in GT5, right? You even had like the coffee break again.
My fucking game stopped.
One make races.
Yeah. But outside of the campaign aspect, I think everything else in GT6 is just better. From the physics, the graphics, the special events. The special events especially, they're really close to my art. You got the good wood, you got the moon one, which I mean it was kinda dumb, but I love it. You
Arc
got
Senna
Senna too,
DLC.
you know?
You got the Senna one.
yeah, you got the Senna tribute.
Senna was
event.
special.
It was
Yeah, it
really
was
good.
nice but hard.
And even
that
the
was
New
Sierra
colors.
Rally is fucking great. It's awesome. I really wish they'll bring it back for GT7. I highly doubt it, but it's just really fun to play. And yeah, I think a lot of stuff in GT6 is just like how it should have been in GT5, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah,
GT6 also has gotten rid a little bit of the loading times. I have noticed that the tracks load faster.
yeah.
on the-
Yeah.
Wait.
That's a thing.
Shuffle is see the Nenkai's photo.
The one in
Shuffle is in,
Shuffle Race, yeah.
In GT6.
But yes, but it's not implemented.
I know I made a
Ah.
big deal about the shuffle racing, but still, it's just
But
Okay.
they
that mode
remo-
was so special to me, and it was just it's still
they
where's
removed
my shuffle
they removed
racing?
shuffle racing, but I think they actually added qualifying, did they? Because it wasn't in
I think they
GT5.
Yeah, there was qualifying.
Oh
But
yeah,
it
they
was
did add
GT6.
qualifying. I'll give them that at least. They did
And
add
you could
qualifying.
also modify the grid as you wanted. You can do that in GT. You can't do that in GT5, and it's a bit of a pain, especially nowadays when we play. But still.
Nah, good point.
But yeah, so that's all of my
I
reasons.
just
I mean, the
again, it's
physics
just-
especially. It's a bit arcade-ier, especially compared to other games, but it's still pretty good. I just really
It's PS3
value
game.
the base of the game, which is based on. I mean, yeah, the base game, just like the physics and the graphics, whatever, like the basic stuff is really well done on GT6, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I also like GT Sport a lot, but we'll get to it now. So last game for tonight, GT Sport.
This is a very
I
controversial
never
one.
Can I
played
start?
it because
Can I
I
get
don't
it?
have
Can I
a
start?
PS4, but it doesn't seem so nice from the
C or D?
gameplay I watched.
Okay.
This is,
Can I- Can I
my-
start?
My take is very
We can just-
controversial, but
okay.
I think it's A.
I heard it doesn't have a GT mode, so definitely a D.
Well,
Or A or B.
GT
well,
Sport
in-
wasn't a
Because
GT
you have
at
to
all.
see it with two side views. Because you have to see as a Gran Turismo and as a simulator. Because everyone say there are lots of people
Wait.
that said this is a
Okay, you can go later. We still need to decide where to place it though.
I think it
D.
should be A.
It should be D. No,
It should be
No,
the
no,
GT mode I
no,
heard is
no.
very small.
It is
it's not-
it is
Just
not
say
like
your rank,
a Gran
guys.
Turismo.
Just say
It
the
doesn't
rank.
even have a Gran Turismo mode.
A.
A, yeah.
B. We're going
Yeah,
A.
A. I think
No.
A.
D.
Yeah, A.
B.
B or C.
D.
B or C.
in my opinion, if you are dedicated to the online only,
I'll
it's
leave
an,
it to
it's
B.
an, it's an, it's an A, because the penalties are fucked up.
Yeah.
People
Yeah, I've seen the
literally-
memes about them.
people
Yeah, but-
literally hit you, and you get the penalty, and the other go ahead and you fuck up.
I know what you
Okay.
feel. I know what you.
Okay, you
said,
you
but-
guys can now talk about what you feel about the game.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You have to see with two side views, as a Gran Turismo and as a simulator, because as someone said, it's a simcade. So it's a fusion between an arcade and a simulator. About an arcade or that's the Gran Turismo part that exists since the first game. I think that it's good. It has lots of cars, new and old, and it has a good graphic. We know. You can have a big possibilities of different tracks. For example, Tsukuba or Kyoto for drift, for example, or Tokyo Expressway, for example, with maybe making some Kanjo lobbies. Good for classic races. and more stuff. The cars, same thing. We have, for example, the street cars, race cars that are group 3, group 4, but we can use, for example, group 1 with LMP1 and group C, and Vision Gran Turismo. And there are the group X with lots of cars, for example, the Lewis Hamilton's Formula 1 car, or the Vision Gran Turismo, or the Super Formula. Okay, this is the part about this is the Gran Turismo part, so the arcade. But if you want to look about the simulator part, it's good, but not so much, because there are lots of things that are not are not the best. For example, Gran Turismo has the sport mode that has lots of daily races. There are race A, race B, and race C. But when you do some of them, there's always problems. For example, with penalties or with the lobbies. For a stupid example is the pit bug or the grid start bug. And this is a big problem, because if you go, for example, on a Project Cars or on a Formula 1 or Assetto Corsa competition, you don't have this problem. So maybe this thing should be solved, because you make, for example, problems for drivers that maybe have prepared for the race, and they will lose when they join the lobby. They will have problems with connection for this reason, and maybe they will lose the driver rating, because Polyphony decided that if you quit by a race, connection problems or not, you will lose driver rating, and that's not fair. Another fact is that there are the physics doesn't help it. Doesn't help this fact to see Gran Turismo as a simulator, because they want to put the arcade philosophy to the simulator philosophy, and that's strange. There are lots of things, for example, like one of the famous examples of now is the Salvatore Maraglino's hot lap. He did that hot lap with the handbrake. Guys,
Piolo, I think, yeah, we get your point. You'll be going on.
Okay, maybe I decided to save so many things, but you know why.
Yeah, I've just been sitting here and be like, yep. All right, let me get mine out. I'd say this game is B tier. I mean, when the game initially came out, I would have probably said C, maybe even D tier, like when it first came out, mind you. But in the state that it's now in, I'd say B tier, because they did add a few more really good tracks. They added quite a good roster of some interesting vehicles. The GT mode isn't really... I don't consider the game having a GT mode, so I don't really count it. The online mode is easily the game's biggest strong point, because you can easily just find races to do with people and just get into some action really quickly. It's definitely the easiest to do so for that. The penalty system has always been a problem, and it's, kind of been one of the things that, in the eyes of some people, lets it down a bit. But it's just to understate the impact I think GT Sport has made compared to some of the older Gran Turismos. Like, is definitely shouldn't go understated. Like, GT Sport has been such a massive deal and has likely in a lot of ways probably shaped the series going forward, because GT7 I suspect will be very much like taking a lot of what worked in sport and putting it and just expanding it into even bigger horizons into 7, whilst also harkening back to where to some of the older games too, which, and this is where I also have to critique it, is probably what people really wanted more than anything else. Because for some people just preferred like the older styles of the Gran Turismo games, and to them, sport was not their cup of tea.
Yeah, totally.
So I'd say B tier.
Any other of you guys wanna go or?
In my opinion, Gran Turismo Sport in general is a big step up from Gran Turismo 6. I mean, putting away the career mode, which is not even a career mode, it's just a freaking Gran Turismo 6 2.0. It's actually a good game if you are a high-ranked driver and know who to race with. But if you're a low-ranked driver, it's just a complete and utter pile of bird. I mean, you know what I mean. I'm talking about the online right now. It just changes from perspectives, because it's actually a great game, but it's let down by the penalty system.
I would like to say one.
Yeah,
I'd say that the game at launch was shit because it didn't have content. But I really appreciate what Polyphony did and add more content free of charge, and that was great to me. So I'd say that GT Sport is a game with problems and issues and really great points, but in the end, I do really appreciate what Polyphony did with Sport and that is trying to change the Gran Turismo franchise. And they didn't do that in a usual way. They did it in a completely different way. So I really appreciate what Polyphony did, but it isn't a good game. So that's it.
All right. I think I'll go now. Or do you wanna go? What's up? That's fine.
Well, in my opinion, the only way, if you are the usual player or over the top player, and you need to start from behind to literally finish a race well, because if literally 9 times of 10, if you start from the top, at the first turn you get literally bumped out of the track, because it happens to me the all times that I played, and it's literally frustrating that a game that I played from the first to the all, o sea, to the latest, to don't want to play, because the all races on quick races of the day race, it how I say, to have an S on safety, you have to finish the race last.
Okay, I can get your point to a certain degree.
One second. Y si me lo decís en español y yo lo traduzco por ahí.
I mean, I don't know if he was done or what.
No.
Maybe I can translate.
Okay.
Bueno, a ver, te lo digo en español y se lo traduces si quieres.
Okay.
A ver, que yo desde mi punto de vista, básicamente, para correr una carrera y de 9 veces 10 te tengan que echar fuera en la primera curva, si empiezas arriba, es una mierda.
Sí.
O sea, tienes que acabar por detrás.
But I've understood everything.
I think you.
Well.
I mean, give us the English translation for the others.
Yeah. He says that 9 out of 10 times, if you start on first position or in the second, you can easily get rammed
the first corner.
In the first turn, yeah, and that sucks.
Yeah, I can feel him. Yeah. Because
that's
the physics.
That's what he said.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Quantum physics is a little of an arcade.
So
So
I guess that's
Yeah.
my turn now.
anyone doesn't take care of about how to overtake someone. That's true.
Okay, so my view on GT Sport is, I mean, as pretty much everyone said, when it came out, it was really lackluster as a game. It had really few
Yeah.
cars and tracks. It would have probably been in C tier, I think. But after like 2 or 3 years, with all of the updates, and I'm not talking only about the content that they added, which pretty much doubled the size of the game, but just like even for like they fixed some stuff, the physics got a bit better. They really put attention into this game, like overall. When you go on a track, like all of the tracks and even the cars look really good. They like even the track is the tracks especially feel a lot alive, a lot like more alive than how they felt on GT5 or 6. I don't know if you can get the same feeling. I guess it's hard to explain, but it's like you got a lot more of external stuff going on outside of the track that really adds on the immersion. But and of course the biggest point of the game is the online mode, and yeah, a lot of people say that it's bad, but like it has bad stuff in it, but I mean most of it is more like comes from the player base than the game itself. But like with all things considered, GT Sports right now probably offers one of the best online racing experiences you can find in sim racing, because the only one that can beat it, in my opinion, is iRacing, which is, you know, a game that has to be on. It's a subscription based game, so there are a lot of money going towards it. And GT Sport, like, yeah, the penalties can suck at times because it's automatic, but like no other racing game that I'm aware of has good like automatic penalties. And with everything else, it has pretty much a good matchmaking with the daily races and the manufacturer and nations cups. They're really good, and they pretty much beat everything else that's on the market outside of iRacing. And yeah, just for that, I think it's a really polished game overall, and the
The
online.
graphics are good. They're pretty good.
Graphics are
online.
amazing.
Graphics,
Yeah, exactly. They really squeeze every every kind of the maximum potential out of the PS4, because even on
Yes.
our base PS4 it looks amazing. You can take like some of the best picks I ever seen in my life, honestly.
Yeah. Sometimes Gran Turismo picks from GT6 and GT Sport can trick you that they are actually from real life. Like I saw
But
some
yeah,
picks
yeah.
from
So-
GT6 and Sport, and I was like, is this real life or Gran Turismo? It really tricks me sometimes. Like that's
Yeah.
how realistic those two games are.
So for me, it would just be on A rank because it's such a polished game overall, with one of the best online experiences. To quote another GT YouTuber, you may heard of him, Viper Concept. He said this about GT Sport. It's like if Yamauchi painted the Mona Lisa, but no, yeah, it's like he made the Mona Lisa, but he forgot to paint it, and it really fits because overall it's really polished, but it has those like a few
Things
simulate
missing.
some
It had a lot
simulate
of potential.
some of simulating aspects that are missing to the game, because it's the most realistic Gran Turismo 2 as well, but there are still some things that are missing to make it a fully fledged simulator, and hopefully it's gonna be fixed in GT7. But still, like, the game is really great overall, even though it doesn't have the best career. I mean, the career is still fine. It's probably better than GT3's career to a certain degree, but
Yeah, because you have a lot of events to do.
Yeah. But yeah, just the community they made with the whole esports scene is great. I think what the game sets out to do, it does it perfectly. and so that's why it's A rank for me.
What about the sports? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's biggest esports racing scene, only behind F1 because of course F1 has such a big
The F1 license.
Yeah, exactly. It's
The sponsorships too, because if you see GT championships are sponsorized by FIA, so nothing of so little. It's
yeah, I don't think
the FIA and PlayStation, so that's why Gran Turismo has a big esports community.
I mean, I just think it's that because it's like the most popular racing game ever, probably. It's kinda
Yeah, that's the most popular. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But
I don't think the FIA license definitely helps with like making people approach the game, probably. But even without the FIA license, I still think the game will be massively popular in the esports scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you have, for example, lots of motivation to do it, because Polyphony decided to put lots of attentions on esports, so they know how to give attentions on about this part of Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
And this will be the same, and they will do the same work for Gran Turismo 7.
And so on.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially like as a base
The
for GT7, I think it's
The only fact is that
it's really great.
it needs to be a little bit realistic, because there are lots of things. For example, like the qualification times with handbrake. That's not possible.
Can you stop bringing that up? I don't think it really fits the discussion, but okay, sure.
That's an example about the fact that if a game is sponsorized by important things like FIA, because you're not talking about.
I'm gonna tell you my view on it.
Okay.
I agree that they probably should at least disable handbrake on like some cars, but as a racing driver, you kinda get taught to like you do everything you can to win, right? So yeah, it sucks overall, but if you're gonna use the handbrake, you kinda grow into that mentality as well.
I know, but
it's like you can really cut on some track as well, even if you go over the white lines. But still, like the game doesn't punish you, so you're gonna do it because it's faster. Even though it's morally not right, I guess. But if the game is like, yeah, you can cut there, everyone is gonna do it.
And it's not realistic. This is the problem.
I mean, it kinda is. The FIA always has some points where you can go over the white lines.
Yeah. In Formula One, if you
they do it a lot.
If everyone saw the race at Spa, there were track extending all over the place, especially in the final chicane.
But yeah, I think that's it for the tier list tonight. Thank you all for joining.
Yeah.
It was great.
Shouldn't we put on Gran Turismo 7, because we already seen stuff about it?
No, the game isn't
not
out.
the game.
Game's not. It's not out yet. That would be unfair.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my prediction at least at least A rank if I had to guess, but we don't really know much about it, so we'll just have to see.
But really, from what we have seen, it seems pretty okay to me. I like it. I like that it has the feeling of GT4, like the menus and stuff, and
yeah, but it's not a final
yeah,
game.
we need something
might
now.
change.
We need to see the final game when it's published.
Yeah, it might have been changed.
So this
Probably a lot of things will be changed, like the.
Or maybe wait 1 year at least, just 1 year, because they will add more features or more. For example, tracks, cars.
Yeah, even after the games comes out, it's really possible that it's gonna get updated like Sport did. So yeah, we won't even have like the final game at launch, and like not in a bad way. It's like unfinished, but it's probably gonna evolve just like Sport did, because we are just in that era of gaming where.
Have you finished the stream?
Not yet. yeah, I was gonna say that like this section of the stream is gonna be probably turned into a video if you're all okay with that. I'm
Yeah,
probably just gonna re-upload like when we started
it's
to
okay.
now.
It's okay.
But yeah, thank you all for joining. It was really fun just to talk it out. See what GT game. Oh yeah, I mean, I guess what GT game is the best for you. I guess.
GT5.
Mine is the Gran Turismo 4.
All right. Yeah, same.
Mine is 5 and 2.
Yeah.
Alright.
GT4 for me.
I'd say 4 and 6.
Damn. The only one with 6 as favorite game.
That's bold.
I mean,
Right.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of people who have like GT3 as
Right,
their
I-
favorite game. So
Right. I gotta head off for now. So.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna close off the stream anyways. So
Yeah.
thank you all
Hey,
for
fair enough.
joining. See ya next time.
See ya.
You.
Ah.